So for over 4 years, I've been talking about Hedera HBAR, and in that 4 years, we have witnessed a big shift in the entire landscape of crypto from, the small little industry that, ran up to $3 trillion to now it is still a roughly $3 trillion market. But we now have the US government fully embracing the tech. We even have the European government also accepting the tech. The ECB, the European Central Bank, just announced that they are moving towards a DLT-based payment system. So when we think about how different the environment is now today compared to like 2021, it's night and day. And so is Hedera. But if we think about this entire space, it will be 10 to 50 to even 100 times bigger than what it is right now. And there is zero doubt in my mind when we think about the macro view of this entire space. But before we really think about that, we need to go in depth on what's going to get us there. So let's actually address that. But first, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So yes, real quick, we'll run over the price action because I'm sure that that's the number one thing that a lot of people will say in the comments saying, oh, if Hedera is going to be this big player, then why is the price crashing? Even though, right now we are down about 38.5% on the monthly, but on the year, we're still up about 80, almost 7%. And if we're going off of those lows back here where we were sitting at about like 4 cents back in the beginning of November, we're still looking pretty good right now. In terms of the actual price chart, this is what the price chart looks like. No major change at all. We're still in that nice little uptrend. We recently just filled a significant gap as well on the daily, the 3-day, and even on the weekly. And now we're just kind of chopping. And from this point, I do expect the next big target to be right up here around the all-time highs. This should be the next stopping point for HBAR. Before we hit a little bit of resistance, because it's not going to be a boom, we break out, everything's all good. No, we'll probably hit this, chop a little bit against resistance, sell off a little bit, and then finally break out, which is totally fine. In fact, I'm actually happy to see this type of price action instead of us just going up in one straight line because, when we go up in one straight line, typically it's one red straight line down as well after. So this is exactly what we want to see. We want to see healthy price action up there. And I do expect that to actually happen once we do kind of get up to those points. Similar to even the price action here, where we are still fighting resistance, by the way, on this chart, even on the 12-hour, because I do have this on the lower time frame. You could see the resistance here every single time that we do get up there. We kind of chop against it, and then we finally sell off, and then we retest it, chop against it, sell off. And that's basically what we've been doing since going back to roughly the beginning of December, where we do kind of just chop against this. Now we already sold off. So the next time that we do retest this, is it going to be hard to break out of this resistance zone? Not exactly, because we already have multiple, tests of this major resistance zone. And every single time that we do hit that zone, it weakens every single time. So on this next move here, I'm expecting us to actually break out and then this price action to follow. So something like that is exactly what I'm expecting going forward in like the next week or two. We should see this play out. I'll definitely come back to this chart in another video later on. But this is exactly what I'm expecting to play out in the coming weeks. Now, outside of this, let's go back to my original talking points, which was this space is going to grow rapidly. Right now, we are trading at roughly $3.19 trillion. Now, that might sound great on paper because that's a lot of money, but is it really that much money in the grand scheme of things? It really isn't. When we compare it to equities, when we compare it to, debt markets or the derivatives markets or the FX markets, like this is not a lot of money at all, which is also why this space is so damn small in the actual global view of things, which is also why I keep telling you guys that I understand that it might be hard to get through the short term, and even over the last 4 years, right? Like not much has changed over the last 4 years. If we really think about it, I mean, let's go all the way back to 2021. Like this is where 2021 was. We're still trading at these lows, just under those 2021 highs. So, has price action changed significantly since then? Not exactly, but I do believe that this cycle that will all change. I do believe that this cycle, HBAR is going to go significantly higher, make us a lot of money. We'll obviously be able to take profits and reinvest in the bear market as well. But what I really mean here when we talk about like how big this space will be, it doesn't happen overnight, right? Like these markets take time to get there. But you got to also remember that we think about how long it's going to take, and we have this idea in our mind that it's going to take like 10 years or 20 years. But in all actuality, we already have tokenization happening right now. Okay. And we haven't hit that one, T area. But once we hit that $1 trillion in tokenized value, things will quickly shift into overdrive from that point on. I mean, think about it like this. We hit 1 billion in tokenized value, and quickly after we hit 10 billion. That's how fast things change. Now, we also have to remember that we are an unregulated space. When regulations are in place, that's the green light for all the big players that are already here, mind you, to just kick it up a notch and scale. And once we get to that point, I don't think that we will really worry about the price action at all. But talking more so about that, right? There is some pretty big news happening around Hedera. Before we really talk a little bit more about, tokenization, I have to address some of the big announcements that happened recently. Number one was the announcement with Enter the Origin. So we're excited to announce that VC-backed Enter the Origin has built its token launchpad on Hedera, enabling both top VC and retail to invest alongside each other in the upcoming wave of next-gen dapps on the network. And I think that this is actually very exciting. Because again, it's opening the doors not just for the retail sector, but for the institutional side. And if we actually look at this, okay, in 2024, venture capitalists invested 11.5 billion in crypto startups, while crypto deal valuations increased faster than the general industry in Q2 and Q3. As markets across the world further embrace the crypto industry, establishing new regulations and creating guidelines that foster innovation, 2025 is set to bring even more VC interest into crypto. In most cases, VCs receive exclusive access to early stage investment opportunities and projects with high growth potential, and often rely on expensive resources to conduct market research, giving them an advantage over retail investors. Everyday users often miss out on the opportunity to invest in early stage projects at the same level as large VC firms. And that's exactly where Origin comes into play, because they want to level the playing field for not only VCs, but for the retail investors. And, they're doing this now with Hedera because this is a full-on integration. They're building its token launchpad on Hedera as well. And I actually think that this is going to be very, very exciting. And I think that's going to be very beneficial for Hedera because, again, this is going to provide a lot more volume on the actual network. And I think that this is going to be a game changer as well, not just for the VC opportunity for the retail sector, but just for the overall environment for the token use case on Hedera. Because we got to remember that Hedera token service is so disruptive compared to any other network. Yeah, you can launch an ERC20 token tomorrow, but it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. And not only is it a nightmare, but to actually trade it, to have an actual market behind it, it is so ridiculously inefficient because of the inefficiencies on Ethereum. So I'm actually very excited about this. I think that this is going to be, huge. And just a little bit about, Origin, if you guys did want to look into this, they're just a premier launchpad that is on Hedera for curated investment opportunities. And I just think that this is going to be very cool, especially for the retail sector to really kind of get behind some of these great projects. Now, they do plan to open up investment opportunities at a rate of 1 to 2 projects per month. So this should be pretty substantial in terms of the amount of volume and value on Hedera added. Now, outside of this, let's go back a little bit because now we are getting back to the beginning point of the video, which was tokenization. Okay. We know what happened back in April of 2024. Archix and Hedera with Onera announced that they were bringing on BlackRock's ICS US Treasury Money Market Fund. There's a lot of there was a little bit of drama around this. Let's just be honest. And it was a lot of negative drama. But this was still a pretty big announcement. Today, we just got this announcement. We're excited to announce an investment in Archix Exchange tokens that represent Fidelity International's United States dollar money market fund. This is big. This investment follows the recent tokenization of the money market fund on the Hedera network by Archix, the first FCA-regulated digital asset exchange, broker, and custodian, which serves as the distributor for Fidelity International's fund. These tokenized shares are available on the Archix platform, allowing investors to gain exposure to the asset through blockchain-powered mechanisms. The development also enables tokenized securities to serve as transparent proof of reserves for stablecoin treasury verification, a significant step in enhancing the transparency of the broader digital asset ecosystem. Looking ahead to 2025, real-world asset tokenization will be a key catalyst for blockchain adoption. Our vision for a fully tokenized financial ecosystem aligns with Fidelity International's commitment to innovation to accelerate the mainstream adoption of tokenization. It's essential that we work closely with asset managers, and this investment underscores our firm commitment to the goal. We are excited to deepen our partnership with Archix and Fidelity International and build on our shared vision. And I'm actually very excited about this because, again, this is just another big partnership that Hedera actually does have. And I'm not talking about, Fidelity. I'm talking more so about the partnership with Archix that provides them that forefront sort of, step that allows them to be ahead of almost all of the other players in the space around the tokenization, narrative. You got to remember that Hedera, going back to like even the earliest days, was focused on tokenization. And we're talking about like going back to like, 2019, 2020, 2021, they were fully focused on tokenization even then, back when it wasn't a big hype sort of topic. And, this is just another big announcement, another big move by Hedera that really provides us an insight on just how big they are becoming in the tokenization space. And we actually have down here a few quotes. Now, here we have the quote from Greg Bell that I just read. But here we actually have from the CEO and co-founder of Archix, Graham Rodford. The tokenization of Fidelity's USD money market fund on Hedera opens up new avenues for institutional investors, allowing for near instant transfers, reduced counterparty risk, and enhanced cash management solutions. Hedera's cutting-edge DLT enables near real-time settlement, greater efficiency, and cost savings, aligning perfectly with Archix's commitment to providing best-in-class infrastructure performance and security. Now, also, we have the quote from the head of digital propositions and partnerships, APAC XJ at Fidelity International. By leveraging fund tokenization, Fidelity International demonstrates a commitment to bridge traditional finance with decentralized finance and offer yield and transparency to on-chain investors. We are pleased to work with Archix and HBAR Foundation to expand our distribution channels. And I think that this, again, when we think about these names like Fidelity International, all right, is this a partnership between Hedera and Fidelity? No. Okay, it's very similar to like the BlackRock news, but in this case, we are starting to see a little bit of a little bit more of a spotlight put on Hedera, even from like the head of digital propositions and partnerships at Fidelity, because they're even saying here that they want to expand their distribution channels and they're going to be working with Archix and HBAR Foundation on this. But when we think about the numbers behind these names, like Fidelity, for example, number one, they have 2.9 million customers globally. All right, they've been around for over 50 years. Not only that, they're operating in more than 25 locations, and they have over $925.7 billion in total assets. And when we think about, just Fidelity International, let's go back to like Aberdeen, for an example. Like, what a big player. What a big player. A lot of people overlook Aberdeen, but it's a huge name. And not only that, but when we think about all of the names that Archix already has tapped in, like going back to November 20th of just last year, they added State Street, Fidelity International, and LGIM offerings to regulated digital platform. All of these three were added to their platform, and it's because Archix is the key facilitator around the tokenization revolution. Okay, number one, their advisors include many central bank players, like, for example, the Royal Bank of Canada. You have the London Stock Exchange here as well. Custom House, HSBC. I mean, these are big names that are advisors of Archix, and a lot of people don't realize that or even know that these are the types of names behind Archix. And this is also why when we look at the Archix report regarding tokenization in some of these markets out there, like this was a little bit of an older, image from their website, but it still shows how significant this is today because these figures only grew and grew and grew in value. And when we look at the all of cryptocurrencies number over there at $340 billion, guys, yeah, sure, we 10x that. We're at like 3.2 trillion right now. But all of those numbers on the right side, they have grown not by 10x, but by 20x, if not more. These markets are absolutely massive, okay? And there's quadrillions of dollars out there that will be affected by this technology. That's why I think that a lot of the endeavors that Hedera is making in this space and outside of this space with some of these big players like central banks or, these major, companies, and you have the moves being made with the, partnerships that they have with like Archix, for an example, it's really clearing out a path for them to be one of the biggest winners behind the tokenization revolution, which is also going to provide, all of the HBAR holders that are actually looking at this and realizing what's happening here. Like, yeah, sure, we're going to take profits, we're going to reinvest them, cycle over cycle, because it's just a 4-year liquidity cycle that we're following. At some point in time, we won't even have to worry about that. I really don't think that we're even going to have to worry about the price of HBAR either, because you got to think about how big HBAR will also be when you have trillions of dollars. And yes, I do believe that trillions of dollars will move over Hedera. When you have trillions of dollars moving over a network being settled 24/7, 365, that amount of volume and that amount of value makes the underlying asset on that network extremely valuable, which in this case is HBAR. This is why I don't think that almost any of these utility projects, I don't think that we have anything to worry about when we take a step back and we really look at what the big players are doing. And they've already told us what they're doing. BlackRock told us what they're doing. Franklin Templeton has told us what they're doing. Fidelity has told us what they're doing. I mean, all of these massive asset management companies, these institutional players, they keep telling us the plan. And I seriously feel like a lot of people in this space just completely zone out and they don't even listen to it, when we should 100% be studying what they are doing, because guess what? That's the big money. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, to notifications on because I'm free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.